is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. More calls for the government to remove VAT from breadbasket items. The Economic Affairs Minister said $600,000 of the budgeted $1 million was spent on the Dubai Expo. And an interesting ruling from the Privy Council. What will it mean for many other land and homeowners? It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Don Sargent will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll be talking with the University of the Bahamas Alumni Association about their alumni recognition and awards. That's coming up. And as promised yesterday, today we are scheduled to have Director of Communications Latreille Raming going to talk about the new COVID rules and some other issues making news today. That's coming up in Morning Blend Business. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight of the $1 million budgeted by the Davis administration to support the country's presence at Expo 2020 in Dubai, $600,000 was spent. That's according to Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkitis. Halkitis noting that Dubai's government paid for Prime Minister Philip Davis and his delegation to attend the Expo last month. He declined to provide further comment. News that a delegation of more than 100 traveled to Dubai for the event, while the Bahamas continues to suffer from an economic and financial crisis brought on by the COVID pandemic, provoked the ire of many last month. While the amount spent was of concern, the primary concern for many was the quality of payment offerings at the expo and how performers were chosen. The delegation included Bahamian artists and performers, among them Shabak, a choir led by Office of the Prime Minister Press Secretary Clint Watson, whose relatives also made up the delegations in other capacities. Office of the Prime Minister Director of Communications Latreille Raming previously said the government of the United Arab Emirates supported the presence of the pavilion at the expo with $3.5 million, and that the private sector supplied donations totaling $500,000. Further, he said cabinet approved up to $1 million for Expo 20. However, the former Prime Minister Dr. Jimenez says his administration did not allocate funds specifically for Expo 2020. He said the Ministry of Tourism was advised to use funds already budgeted to attend the event. A man who smuggled 8 guns and 85 rounds of ammunition into the country through a courier company, sentenced to 5 years in prison. Keith Higgs will spend an additional year behind bars if he doesn't pay a $20,000 fine by the completion of his 5-year-long prison term. Higgs' girlfriend, Abigail Nelson, who collected the contraband from the courier company, was sentenced to 2 years in prison. The pair has denied the firearms trafficking charges when they did this yesterday when they appeared before Magistrate Samuel McKinney. Higgs pleaded guilty to possession of firearms and ammunition with intent to supply, conspiracy to import firearms and ammunition, and possession of a prohibited weapon. Nelson pleaded guilty to possession of firearms and ammunition with intent to supply. Police raided the couple's home in White's Addition off Kemp Road on February 7th, soon after the contraband was collected. The prosecutor told the court that officers took up surveillance at Dash Express on East Street around 8 a.m. on the day in question, and that the officers followed the suspects to their home after they collected the boxes and seized a 7.62 caliber assault rifle with 340 caliber pistols, 3 9mm pistols, and a 22 caliber pistol, along with 85 rounds of ammunition of various caliber. Maxwell Supermarkets owner Chad Sawyer says that the government should reconsider its recent reintroduction of value-added tax on breadbasket items as more people struggle to buy groceries as a result of inflation. Sawyer is saying that the consumers only have a certain amount of dollars, and the prices have gone up due to supply and demand and a lack of supply. And the mid-year budget review, which is required to be tabled by the last Wednesday in February, will be delayed due to the upcoming F&M convention. That's according to the Ministry of Finance. The Public Financial Management Act 2021 and the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2018 provide that the Minister of Finance is required to table the review in Parliament by the final Wednesday in February each year, which would be tomorrow. However, the House will not meet again until March 9th. The Ministry of Finance saying that the report and associated communication provide updates to creditors, investors, and the Bahamian public on the progress toward the fiscal strategy and annual budget targets. But as a result of the pending F&M convention, the House won't meet again until the 9th of March to allow for party elections. Overseas, Russia announcing today that it's recognizing independence for areas in eastern Ukraine, extending to territory currently held by Ukrainian forces, further raising the stakes amid Western fears that Moscow is planning a full-fledged invasion of Ukraine. A Kremlin spokesperson saying that Russia has recognized the rebel region's independence, quote, in borders that existed when they proclaimed their independence in 2014. Ukrainian forces later reclaimed control of a large part of both regions during a nearly 8-year conflict that has killed over 14,000 people. The announcement comes a day after Russia said it would recognize the independence, but didn't say exactly what it considered the borders of those areas to be. The move, widely seen in the West to be a prelude to a Russian invasion. Russia has amassed an estimated 150,000 troops near Ukraine in recent weeks, and Western leaders have warned of a planned attack. Western leaders have denounced the move and say they're preparing to announce sanctions. Late Monday, convoys of armored vehicles were seen rolling across the separatist-controlled territories. It wasn't immediately clear if they were Russian. Russian officials haven't yet acknowledged any troop deployments to the rebel east, but a member of the separatist local council in Donetsk telling reporters that the Russian troops already had moved in, taking up positions in the region's north and west. In sports, Lamar Taylor was the golden boy for the Bahamas this past weekend, swimming away with 6 gold medals at the New South Intercollegiate Swim Conference Swimming and Diving Championships in Mississippi. The Bahamian collegiate athlete for Henderson State University entered elite company not just in the medals he's winning, but in times as well. In his specialty, the men's 50 free, he was just 1/100th of a second in becoming the fastest Bahamian ever in short course yards. Taylor won that event in a blistering 19.58 seconds, just off the 19.5 seconds Bahamian national record holder Alan Murray swam 28 years ago, back in 1994. Taylor then came back the following day and erased the Bahamian national record in the men's 100 free, swimming 43.47 seconds. Taylor's times were both new school records, and the former was a conference record as well. In the 50 free, he became the second Bahamian after Murray to swim under 19.6 seconds. It was also an A qualifying time for the NCAA Division II Championship set for March 9th through 12th in North Carolina. Read more about this in today's Guardian Sports section. And the Bahamas turning in a strong performance on day one of the International Tennis Federation's World Junior Tennis Competition for the NACAC region, North Central American and Caribbean region, taking down Honduras 3-0 in the pre-qualifying tournament at the Copa Crown Plaza in El Salvador Monday. Playing the number one singles position, Bahamian Jackson McTaggart winning in straight sets. And playing the number 2 spot, William McCartney coming out on top for the Bahamas, prevailing in straight sets as well. You can read more about how they all did in the doubles team in today's Guardian Sports section. From the NCAA, we told you about this yesterday, and now we are learning of the punishment. Michigan basketball coach Juwan Howard has been suspended the final 5 games of the regular season and fined $40,000 for hitting a Wisconsin assistant in the head, triggering a post-game melee. The Big Ten Conference also on Monday suspended 3 players, 1 game for the altercation, following the Badgers' 77-63 win on Sunday. Michigan's Musa Diabate and Terrence Williams II and Jacoby Neath of Wisconsin. Wisconsin coach Greg Gard was fined $10,000 for violating the conference's sportsmanship policy, but was not suspended. Howard is expected to be back for the Big Ten tournament, which begins March 9th in Indianapolis. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather this morning, we've got high pressure that continues to dominate the weather, generating moderate to fresh winds across the country. Beachgoers should exercise caution along eastern shorelines due to the risk of rip currents. For all areas today, we're expecting partly sunny and breezy conditions with a chance of a light passing shower or two, becoming fair and breezy tonight. A small craft caution remains in effect. Winds easterly at 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts. Seas 4 to 7 feet, but higher in gusts. Temperatures today getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit. It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, chart a course for RF Mutual Funds, where you can get global returns through our suite of internationally invested funds. Get exposure in U.S., Asian, European, and emerging markets without central bank approval. And with financial services leader Morgan Stanley as the advisor and custodian of our international funds, you can benefit from RF's global connections. Set sail for international markets today by visiting rfgroup.com. RF, money at work.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Don Sargent will be joining us. We'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit as well. Coming up this morning, we've got more weather and traffic as well. Later in our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with UB about their alumni awards for this year. And we'll meet some of the honorees, the recipients of awards. And then in Morning Blend Business, we were scheduled to have this yesterday, but he's promised to be here today. Director of Communications, Trey Ramming, is going to be our guest. We're going to be talking about the adjustments, the COVID rules, and more, hopefully. We'll get into that in our 9 o'clock hour. But right now, it's time to talk about what's in the news. And in the news, be sure to pick up a copy of today's Nassau Guardian. Of course, every Tuesday there is the new Grand Bahama section, news from Grand Bahama and more in every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. And it's a great series in the Guardian about life after Dorian. All these years later, how people are still struggling. The big story about Abaco, many still living in tents since Dorian in 2019. And you can get a heartbreaking tale in today's Nassau Guardian and throughout the week. All right. Hey, it's 2:22. Or if you're British, 22. So I know that's a day of good luck, I believe. I remember on 2:02:22, there are a lot of people getting married, and I believe that's going to be the case. I don't know if that's happening here, but if you are, good luck. Congratulations. And anything that you want to do today, everybody, good luck to everybody on what is sure to be a good luck day. 2:22:22. All right. Do we start? Yeah? In the news. Let's go with what's in the news. And in the news, I want to get definitely to the story that we heard about yesterday, court ruling, the Privy Council ruling on land issues. That's a big story. We're going to get to that in a second. People messaging us now. Don is with us. Don Sargent, good morning.
Morning, Dwight.
Hope you're doing well.
Yes, still alive, still breathing.
All right, so look at this. People are getting married. One of our great friends, one of our listeners, telling us that her daughter is getting married today, 2/22/22, at 2:22 this afternoon. Well, look at that. That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Whose daughter's getting married?
One of our good friends, one of our listeners.
Oh, I thought you said your daughter was getting married. I was like, Dwight, you've been hiding children all these years.
That would be a miracle, because for her to be old enough to be getting married.
Oh, this is Bahamas. That would be
what
cool.
are you saying about me, though? I mean, why would I have... Okay, but sure. There's a lot of crimes would be happening if that were going on. But great stuff, and we know that's going to be a big thing today. Okay, so look at that, and I'm sure it's going to be a great day for what? Okay. All right, everybody needs to stop now. We're getting some crazy messages.
About the marriage, right? I mean, the children, right?
People with their views on marriage. And then, that's just getting into crazy.
No, I think we should read some of them, make for interesting conversation.
No, we're not going to jinx. Today's a good luck day. 2/22/22, 22/22. No matter which way you put it, it'll always be that. And it's great.
Well, Dwight, if you look at it, today is technically a Tuesday, right? I couldn't resist.
I think I'm missing your joke, but okay.
Tuesday, because it's all Tuesday.
Okay, there you go. I thought that's where you were going. But Tuesday, so it's got to be a wonderful day. Definitely. Okay. Well, look at this. So she's getting married after 15 years together. Well, they waited for the perfect time.
What?
Getting more information. She's getting married today at 2:22 after 15 years together. So they definitely waited for the perfect moment.
Oh, I thought they were saying that they're getting married. Okay, I didn't understand that part. That's all. My bad. I thought they got married already. They're getting married again. But people do that.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. Good stuff. And then this is a good time to mention once again, I'm pushing for 242 Day. I'm not getting the support, folks. Come on, I don't want to be alone in this. We're going to make this a thing every year. 242 Day, 242, the area code of the Bahamas. We're going to make every February 24th very special, to the point where it becomes, I don't know, a flag day, something for us. A uniquely Bahamian day, 242 Day. You get it, Don? February 24th, 2.
Yeah, it's kind of like we should call it not Valentine's Day, but Love Your Country Day or something. We should
maybe. We already have a National Pride Day, but we don't have a Flag Day. But it's a uniquely 242 Day, and that's Thursday. What? Say that again.
I said maybe it would make for a good Flag Day.
Yeah. So let's try that. Everybody on Thursday, wear your flag colors, show your national pride. 242 Day. Thursday.
We need to write to the PM and see if we can make this a thing.
Well, maybe say if Trey Ramming, if he comes today, then maybe we'll talk about that and corner him on that one. There, we'll see what we can do. Yeah, this person says I'm all for a holiday in February. No, we're talking about a holiday, but just a special day where everybody, celebrates everything Bahamian. Yeah. Okay, we'll see. All right, so let's get to some of these stories before we get to that big story coming out of the Privy Council. More on the Dubai Expo. We're writing about this today in the Nassau Guardian. Of the $1 million budgeted by the Davis administration to support the country's presence at Expo 2020 in Dubai, $600,000 was spent, according to Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Halkitis. He noted that Dubai's government paid for the Prime Minister and his delegation to attend the Expo last month. He declined to provide further comment. Of course, this has been a big topic of discussion. Not everybody's been on the same page, though. Some complaining about the money that was spent and the size of the delegation while we were facing so many challenges. Others who complained about what we did over there compared to other countries, and some others saying we didn't do enough, didn't spend enough, and that only at the last minute are people paying attention to this event, which is winding down now. It's been going on for 6 months, and people have been talking about it for years, but yet only the interest when people saw who went and who didn't get to go, and in typical manner here. So the number's a little different, though, from what we were told before. 600,000 of the wanted, but we've been previously told that 3.5 million came from the government of the United Arab Emirates. That's for the pavilion, the Bahamas Pavilion in Dubai, and that the rest of the money came from donations. The previous government, it's been a little weird about it, whether they did give money. They had pledged to give some, but then Dr. Hubert Minnis said that his administration did not allocate any funds specifically for it, and advised the Ministry of Tourism to use funds already budgeted to attend the event, which we were told was close to $1 million as well. Okay. So now the F&M is calling on the government to provide an itemized list of expenses. It's unclear if the government intends to provide this list. At the time of the controversy, Halkitis had said that the money was spent on the trip went to good use. He said, quote, "We think it's well spent, and at the end of the day, we want to be able to give a ledger to say, this is what we allocated, and here's what we spent, and here are some of the benefits that we think are accruing to us. Some will be immediate, and some will be longer term." So he promised it, but we'll see whether we get it. Just so you know, Expo 2020 is part of the World Expo, an event that occurs every 5 years and lasts for 6 months. And according to its website, the event is a festival where participating countries can show off innovations and have fun by sharing ideas and working together.
Just a quick question, Dwight. You said the total expenditure was $600,000?
That's what Halkitis is saying, that's was spent of the $1 million budgeted by the Davis administration. That's what he's saying.
Why are these numbers always changing?
It's changing a lot.
Oh, my God.
But we hope that we do get the promised itemized list and that we can see everything that went into it. We do hope so.
Why is... all right, I mean, I understand, but why does the figures of what the expenditures change? Well, wasn't it $1 million then, $1.5 million, now it's $600,000?
Well, that was the budget, but they've spent only 600 of the budget. That Davis
okay.
administration.
Well,
right.
okay.
But that doesn't
Sure.
include the other numbers. Those numbers, those were other budgeted figures. So what the total budget, how much was entirely budgeted, and how much was entirely spent by us and was donated by others. That picture isn't entirely clear yet, but hopefully.
So what do we call this, Dwight? Do we call this budget gate or
No,
something?
I don't think so. This is what happens when you change hands, and
The bottle of the budgets. Oh man,
hands
this
change.
I think the
agendas
World
change.
Expo's like its memory and footprint in the minds of Bahamians is more related to how much the government is spending versus what the government is trying to actually accomplish by participating and trying to get investment. Like no one's going to remember the investment part. People are going to remember the controversy about the budgets. Jokes aside.
Well, that's unfortunate because it wasn't. I'm sure the people involved will tell you it wasn't nearly enough. But if you look at the numbers are small. Despite what's being called, what was spent by the Bahamian government, both administrations, tiny compared to what it cost to put on the show. And so that says a lot. But people, because it's lots of different numbers swirling around, people are thinking it's lots of money. But it doesn't appear to be so at all. And we got caught up in the flash and not paying attention to the details and the substance, even though people were providing those. And but that's unfortunately typical. But again, it would be great if we get that itemized list, and soon. I know it's coming to an end soon, so hopefully right after that we'll get everything that we need to know. Okay, I want to move on to this really quickly. The more calls for the removal of VAT from breadbasket items. Maxwell supermarket owner Chad Sawyer in Abaco calling on the government to reconsider its recent reintroduction of value-added tax on breadbasket items as more people struggle to buy groceries as a result of inflation. Sawyer says, quote, the consumer still has only X amount of dollars a week to feed his family. Of course, prices have gone up due to supply and demand. It's a worldwide thing. It's not just here in Abaco or in Nassau or in the Bahamas. It's not only in Florida. It's all through the United States, especially when the 10% VAT went back on food items. Here in Abaco, it definitely made an impact then. You know, we had the Special Economic Recovery Zone where the VAT was exempt after the hurricane. That went back in January, so that gave the consumer 10% less. Wow. When asked if he believes VAT should be removed from breadbasket items, nearly 2 months after it was reintroduced to the items, he replied, quote, most definitely, that would really help a lot. Sawyer says many individuals in Abaco are still struggling to make ends meet more than 2 years after Hurricane Dorian devastated most of the island. He noted that some individuals still live in domes that were erected after the killer Category 5 storm. He says, quote, I know of situations where half the family is in the dome and half the family is living in a car in the yard. While you'll see a lot of progress, there's still a lot of people out there hurting. He also said some individuals are now buying fewer items in the grocery store because of the higher prices. He says this is because they don't have any more money to spend. He went on to say, quote, at the same time, the cost of gasoline is going up. Everything is going up. It ain't only food. It's everything else. They do definitely buy less because the money gets less. They probably wind up spending around the same amount of money in the store, but they get less for it. Wow. Okay, let's talk about it. We know that's been suggested by quite a few people. We've even said that perhaps the gas tax should be temporarily, maybe, at least maybe through the end of the year.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I wish though it would help a lot if it was actually reduce the cost of people doing. But I don't know if government's in a position, because obviously if there's inflation, that means government's procurement of some goods and services is also going to get more expensive. So expenditure may go up as well as a result of this for the government. So I'm not sure if the government's in a position to relax that. Maybe reducing it slightly could balance out somehow.
Oh boy.
Just a suggestion there, though.
Yeah.
But the food store situation, I have noticed that, like, even I used to sometimes buy like a can of mackerel or something to do mackerel and white rice. Yeah, that ain't happening anymore. So yeah, it's I think this is a good time for things like Bamsi or even going to farmers markets and stuff and supporting local farmers. A good way for countries essentially to not necessarily not be affected by inflation, but to kind of hedge its bets against it, is to rely less on imported foods or imported goods in general and try to produce as many things domestically as possible.
Yeah, but that's a long view right now.
Term. But for people right now, I think a good solution to do is to check out your local farmers market, check out Bamsi. Yeah, it's I found, at least for some of the things that I've seen, at times now the price of vegetables are obviously going up, but it may be absolutely cheaper for you to just check out local produce, especially some of the things that you can get for some of the prices. It's cheaper than the new inflated prices, and even before then it was cheaper. So I hope this brings about a resurgence in that.
Okay, all right. Let's hear what you're saying, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. I know the Prime Minister said he was meeting with the wholesalers. I heard that he did have a meeting with somebody. I'm not sure what came out of that. I'm not sure what that could have. What do you want them to do? They are having the issues, right? Their suppliers are the ones who are hitting them harder, and the shipments are delayed, and right. So what do you want the wholesalers to do? I don't know. Love to hear what you have to say. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Am I on the air?
You are on the air. Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. Yes. I am with you. 100%. With February 24th, the 242 concept, I'm with that.
Yeah, how do you want to celebrate it? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to do just what I'm doing today. I'm going long with BTC and short on U.S. CAD. Because at 2:22 this morning, BTC decided to go long, meaning I should buy it, and U.S. CAD decided to drop because people are using U.S. dollars to buy Bitcoin. So that's the combination to work today. 2:22.22. How you like that?
Oh, okay.
Have a nice day.
Sure, you too. Oh,
why you like?
What
told
is
you.
What? Okay. Get back to the text messages. All right, this person says here, I work at the biggest hotel on the island, and between them and the hotel union officials, we haven't had a raise in almost 12 years. Okay. That's rough. That's rough. This one says here, I think if the government moves the 10% VAT off breadbasket items and go back to 12% on all the other items, it'll be far worse for us.
I mean, I don't know, because we removed all exemptions, didn't we? Like, everything is just flat 10% across the board and everything.
Yeah.
So, like, including medical bills and insurance and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know.
It depends on what you buy and what you're doing, right?
No, I think effectively the government revenue is going to go up because they're taxing more things.
Mm-hmm.
But at least that's my opinion, my layman's perspective on this from just observing. I'm not a big fan of paying for medical procedures or dental procedures, etc. Like taxes on top of that, but that's the position. It's now more expensive to go to the doctor or to your local dentist. So, and then the cost of supply chain crunch is also going to affect that stuff at dentist offices as well. So there's a lot of things that we're just going to get hammered for a while until like this global shock ends, whatever that is. Hopefully sometime in 2023, supposedly, is when the supply chain stuff is supposed to be worked out. Mm-hmm. But cutting back seems to be our only option. I reckon Dwight, maybe I'm
cutting back without a choice.
I know, without a choice. I may find myself getting a little thinner, Dwight.
Oh, that'll always be, for some people, helpful. All right. So, if only though. This person says the government will never remove the 10%, not even temporarily. They have to make up for the 2% reduction. Governments are not in the habit of reducing taxes. Do you know how hard it is to impose it in the first place? And meeting the wholesalers is a red herring to make the poor think they are actively doing something. Wow. This other one says here, I live in Abaco. I often hear you guys reporting that people are here living in cars. Please tell me where I can find these people. I'm on the street daily and haven't seen anyone residing in a car. Y'all need to visit Abaco and stop reporting garbage. Okay. Well, that's Abaco people also telling us that. So maybe you just don't know where to look, perhaps. But visit Maxwell's Supermarket and talk to Chad Sawyer, see what he says. We've got somebody on the front page living in a tent. No, that's not accurate either? Okay, well, good for you. Maybe you're in one of the fancy keys. I'm not sure. But wonderful. All right. The average consumer cannot afford 80% of the grocery bag with 2% reduction. The PLP made no sense other than fulfilling a campaign promise, a promise that they deceived the people with. They demonized Minister, said he doesn't care for the poor, but with that added to breadbasket items and medication, we really see who cares. Wow.
Okay, well, again, I despise the fact that it was added to medication, and it was added to medical procedures, that it was used all those sorts of things. I hate that. I wish we kept the exemptions there, because I lived through the experience of not having the money to pay for a medical procedure and having to borrow money like 2 weeks later and going through the pain and agony of that just to get a procedure done. And then for the tax to be removed 2 weeks later from that was supremely annoying. But you can't hold, in this case, though, Dwight, the government accountable for inflation. Like, the government of the Bahamas has absolutely no power over the situation. And because of the fact that we're pegged in our monetary and fiscal policy, our only option in this case is to ride this wave out. But again, I just wanted to say that it is not the PLP's fault that we have inflation. It is our minister's fault or the FNM's fault that we have inflation. This is kind of international problem.
Well, here's the thing, Don. You know, we knew this was coming, right? We knew that everyone had been warning that we were going to see across the board because of what happened with the pandemic and that there would be inflation. We knew it was coming. And many were saying this is going to be a very bad time. Yes, it sounds great to reduce the VAT 2%, but to add it on to other things that had been exempt, it was going to be very rough in some ways for people with the rising costs of goods.
Agreed.
And so perhaps the timing could have been, perhaps it could have been pushed back a bit. Perhaps it could have started maybe with the fiscal year in July or next year, perhaps, to give everybody a little chance to catch themselves. So that's, you say governments have no control, but sometimes the timing of certain things they can do some things about. Perhaps. But we'll see. It's still early yet. It is just the second month of the VAT on breadbasket items. And perhaps what the pain that people are feeling, that may be more related to the inflation issue and to the...
Most definitely related to the inflation.
So after it might settle down and people will say, well, okay, so it started off rough. Supply chain issues. And we've got a handle on it now. And... we wish it were something else, but hey, we can.
I wish the predictions could be, from what I've read, right? Because a massive part of the crunch that we're experiencing now is in the semiconductor space with like microchips and processors, etc. That shortage isn't expected to actually be rectified until quarter one or quarter two of 2023. So you're gonna see contracting and expansion of this whole inflation issue, I think, for the rest of the year.
Definitely.
Hopefully it normalizes out somewhat where like some things are more predictable, but we're going to have a pretty rough time with this.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
First thing, what would our bread basket items? Because people keep throwing out the bread basket items, but the average payment, if you could ask them when they go in the shop, what is considered bread basket items? And even with the stuff that I know that they had as bread basket items, they wasn't even nutritious for you to eat. To start off with, because in Sanders, the Minister of Health about changing out some of the so-called breadbasket items for more healthy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because if you just eating a bunch of carbohydrates and sweet sugar and salty stuff, eventually the majority of people use the government service for medical health. They can fall back on the government again.
Well, that's what's been happening.
So, and then we have this situation between Russia and Ukraine and the rest of the world that's going to cause probably prices to go up again too, because Russia is an oil-producing country, and when they shut off sending oil to Europe for their production of things, everything is starting to go up again.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in a kind of catch-22. But what itemize if one of these mornings, if you all could itemize what are the breadbasket items?
Yeah, I can do that right now.
The majority of people.
I mean, a lot of people use these. A lot of people, you and I might not buy a lot
some
of
things
these.
that people might have considered to be breadbasket items might not have even been breadbasket items. How many people go in the shop and they?
Probably a lot of people. But
when I'm talking with the general, just go in the shop. Oh, I just go in to buy breadbasket items.
Yeah, it's more than we're willing to admit.
And they considered breadbasket items.
Is what, sorry?
The meats, the different meats
No.
that they considered breadbasket items.
No, but the stuff that a lot of people eat, corned beef.
But that's why I say, like Dr. Dwayne Sands was going to trade out to this and to change some of
Yeah, he tried. And remember, there was a lot of pushback. A lot of people were not happy about it.
Breadbasket items, because most of the stuff for the breadbasket items, they have no nutrition. You shouldn't be eating them every single day. Things full of.
I mean, it sounds good to say that, and I agree with you entirely.
You know.
But those are staples in tons of people's lives.
So there's a circle. Either you pay at the purchase, or you have to pay for it in medical care, because we have a high in this country diabetes and hypertension.
Yeah, but
because of our eating habits and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, but that sounds good, and you're right.
I know. I just say it. I just putting that out there.
Yeah.
For conversation rather than just a one-sided conversation of breadbasket item.
Well, we can't deny that these are items that a lot of people, this is what they will immediately go to.
And it's unfortunate that the price is going up. The only thing that the gentleman who on the show with you, he said this other thing too, the cost of the government, because government has purchased a lot of goods and stuff too, and services too. So the cost of the government going up. So if they start to continue to reduce their revenue, we can stay in this catch-22.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
And unfortunately, like I said, the stuff that's going on in Russia and Ukraine with the rest of the world, that probably cause prices to continue to go up.
Yep. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
One of the things he highlighted there was, I can't remember which one of you said. I think it was you, Dwight. Said there was a lot of pushback. Do you remember the fight for the corned beef? When people protested, so the corned beef we put on the breadbasket items list.
You mean that they were talking about taking it off?
They were talking about taking it, yielded and said, all right, you got me corned beef.
He was going to add, Dr. Dwayne Sands had proposed to add a lot of healthier things. And
they also proposed a sugar tax, which the Havens just outright rejected, which is...
But we got to be careful not to go down this road, right? Chastising
I'm not
people.
chastising.
Not you. I'm not saying you, but
we don't want it. That's been clear from the voting populace. We are not interested in a sugar tax in this country.
No, not that. I'm talking about the breadbasket items, and that it's saying that who buys? No, but people do. It's a lot of stuff. Some of the items. These are some of the items. So baby cereal, baby food. Of course, come on now. Baby formula, bread, broths and soups, butter, canned fish. People can't live without their tuna and mackerel. This is huge, right? Cheese, condensed milk, cooking oil, corned beef, evaporated milk, flour, fresh milk, grits, margarine, mayonnaise, mustard, powdered detergent, rice, soap, tomato paste. That's what you're going to find in most people's homes, and hardly of any, being honest. So, yeah, some people are only buying breadbasket items. You know this. Some people are only buying breadbasket items. But hey, and there's more. There's a few more things on that as well. So it's big.
I wonder if Well, as you stated earlier, it's like consumer spending, at least in shops and stuff, is a bit down or people are spending the same amount but getting less food. I wonder if in this instance, this results in more government revenue or not. Because if prices are going up, people basically are buying the same amount of stuff or just a little bit less than that. Wouldn't that mean revenue would slightly see a little bump? But then I don't know how that's going to work long term because obviously people can't afford to just keep paying these inflated prices for indefinitely. So this is actually a very interesting case to watch, Dwight, and it's like a balancing act. I'm very eager to see, let's say, where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's read some messages as we get ready to go to the break. This person says here, adding fat to breadbasket items is killing us. Milk, bread, soaps, soups, rice, grits, sugar, butter, baby items, eggs, tuna. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are buying. A lot of people. And some of us, definitely not a lot. But if you say and dismiss it, I mean, what is that? It sounds really almost judgmental. Boy. This person says here, tell the texter to open their eyes while they drive. It's not hard to see that there are people living in cars on Abaco. Another one here. Governments are too slow, Dwight. There is an excellent produce exchange across BTVI from BTVI at BAIC headquarters. The prices are excellent. Why is Bahamian produce spoiling? They need to market themselves properly so the Bahamians can support each other and eat better. Tomatoes, thyme, pumpkin, sweet potato, zucchini, cabbage, etc. Come on, man. There should be a massive marketing about that place, and it should be duplicated in the inner city where the masses are. That exchange should close at 8 p.m. to accommodate working people. Governments are too slow. Another one says here, I work in the inner city and I observe many people spending indiscriminately buying fast food every day. The people really don't spend with common sense, and they don't care about breadbasket items. Many of them say they don't eat. Okay, many of them don't. Many do. I don't understand.
Yeah, many do. I also don't. Listen, fast food's expensive, man. Like I if you've been paying attention to the prices since 2020, the most fast food restaurants have probably gone up 5 or 6 times. Jesus, man, I don't know if people can afford to do it, but good luck.
Okay, it's still cheaper than some other things. It's still cheaper than a lot of other
things. Is it though? I feel like at this point, I mean, it always was the case, right? Just cheaper to just cook. Just buy food, go and cook. Like, it's just Jesus, man.
But also convenient, right? So.
No, I mean, I don't know, because the line's always long. Every time I go home, you got to drive past people who pull it into the fast food lines and be like, geez, man. I know everybody's circumstance is different, though, Dwight, so I get it. But if you feed more than just you, just cook. Just go and cook.
That would be better. It would be. Another one says, my family lives off breadbasket items. Boy, okay. Understand how reducing from 12 to 10% is worse. Use data and tell us how many people are buying bread at basket items. Stop speaking emotionally to make a point. I don't know who they...
Is that in reference to someone said already or a text or something?
Not too sure. Revenue for the government will not go up if people are maxed out. We will have to buy less so that they are able to pay the tax. The poor will feel it the most. And this one says, as we get ready to go to the break, raising breadbasket items by this government is not good. Raise the wages, and maybe raising it might work. And another one, I agree with the 242 Day as our National Flag Day. Some of the things we could have is a song competition and an official name of the day competition. The prize could be airtime for the song played on Guardian radio platforms. Yeah, man, definitely. Love that. A name for the day?
Dwight, is this your attempt at getting a National Hero Award?
No, what? Why would I? No, not at all.
I don't know. I just thought of that. I was like, what if Dwight's really trying to...
No, last year they had 305 Day. I'm like... 305 Day, and it was March 5th. I'm like, wait,
but Dwight, you got to market this, man. Like you say, Bahamians got to market things. You could be Sir Dwight Strachan.
I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing that because we need to build. We need to We need to build the spirit of, right, national spirit.
I agree.
Morale is very low. Morale in the country is low, and we
more than
need
a decade.
A very long time. I remember there was an article I read. I was blown away by this. It was about a little more than 10 years ago. And they had the Bahamas in the top 10 of the happiest, the places in the world with the happiest people. And even then, I'm like, this can't be right. What? No way. Definitely now we can't be. We couldn't possibly be even the top 50. I'm sure. How? But we gotta work back to that. We've got to get back to that place, right? Where people say, oh, the people are so nice and friendly. When was the last time you really heard anybody say that? And nice and friendly because you weren't looking for a tip or something. When was the last time people were genuinely nice and friendly, not expecting anything? Been a long time. We got to do something. Anyway, let's take a break. When we come back, this is Nice and Friendly, what the Privy Council is saying about land and what land buyers need to be aware of. That's coming up after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. The West is beginning to punish Russia as worrying signs appear that Moscow has started moving some forces into eastern Ukraine, says Britain's defense minister. The U.S. is prohibiting investment in that region of Ukraine. Germany is beginning to put a hold on Stream 2 gas pipeline from Russia. The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting last night. The AP's Tim McGuire on what U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield said.
In her address to the Council, Thomas-Greenfield laid out the likely consequences of an invasion.
We will see a devastating loss of life, unimaginable suffering. Millions of displaced people will create a refugee crisis across Europe.
She added an attack on Ukraine, a UN member state, would be an attack on all UN members. I'm Tim McGuire.
Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison says Vladimir Putin's suggestion that he's sending in help to keep the peace is a lie.
Now, some suggestion that they're peacekeeping is nonsense. They have moved in on Ukrainian sovereign territory.
This morning, Russia is announcing that its recognition of what it calls independence for areas in eastern Ukraine extends to territory currently held by Ukrainian forces. That further raises the stakes amid Western fears that Moscow is about to have a full-fledged invasion of Ukraine. To Britain now, where Queen Elizabeth has canceled scheduled online engagements because she's still experiencing mild cold-like symptoms after testing positive for COVID, says Buckingham Palace. The palace says the Queen will continue with light duties. In Canada,
Canadian lawmakers have extended emergency powers to prevent vaccine protesters from forming new blockades. Canada's emergency preparedness minister urged passage of the emergency measures.
This is AP News. Now to the racehorse Medina Spirit, who died in December. Here's the AP's Ed Donahue.
Medina Spirit was stripped of the victory in last year's Kentucky Derby. Medina Spirit finished half a length ahead of Mandaloun at Churchill Downs last May, giving trainer Bob Baffert what was then his 7th Kentucky Derby title. But after the race,
Medina had been tested positive for 21 picograms of betamethasone.
The steroid is legal in Kentucky but banned on race day. Medina Spirit collapsed and died in December of a heart attack. Bob Baffert plans to appeal the ruling by Kentucky racing stewards. He's been banned for 2 years by Churchill Downs. Mandaloun has been declared the winner of the Derby. I'm Ed Donahue.
A strong explosion near a gold mining site in Burkina Faso killed 59 people yesterday. More than 100 others were injured. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
Time for your first look at traffic for this morning. A reminder about the work that's supposed to be going on Cordo Avenue. The milling and paving work scheduled for this week, mainly between the hours of 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. And if you can, you're asked to avoid the area if possible. But provisions will be made for residents and businesses in the area. Use the adjacent streets if you can for the next few days. In your real-time traffic, we're looking at heavy traffic as usual on Mile Butler Highway from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to the Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway roundabout. That's in the northbound lanes there. Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway backed up a bit, heading toward that roundabout westbound as well. Fire Trail eastbound to the Fire Trail and Mile Butler Highway roundabout. Backed up about quite a ways this morning. Gladstone Road also busy for you, just north of Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive in the northbound lane. And then Carmichael Road seeing some building traffic eastbound to Blue Hill Road and also near the southern end of Mile Butler Highway, eastbound to that intersection, and then westbound to Coral Harbor Road. On Blue Hill Road, we're seeing the heavy traffic from well south of St. Vincent Road all the way up to Independence Drive and the roundabout there, especially north of Soldier Road, and Independence Drive already backed up from roundabout to roundabout, from east-west on Blue Hill Road roundabout there. So Independence Drive, you might want to avoid that entirely, and you're going to be seeing traffic backed up a bit on East-West Highway as well. Eastbound on Independence Drive at this time, seeing some heavy traffic as you get closer to the roundabout with East Street. East Street also congested from well south of Soldier Road, from well south of even Malcolm Road all the way up to the roundabout with East-West Highway and onto that intersection with Robinson Road. So that area is just really congested this morning, seeing a lot of challenges there. Then there's building traffic on Prince Charles Drive at the major intersections and Eastern Road, not looking too bad so far, but building traffic there as well. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. We've got high pressure that continues to dominate the weather across the country, generating fresh winds around the islands. Beachgoers should exercise caution along eastern shorelines due to the risk of rip currents. For all areas today, we're looking at partly sunny and breezy conditions with a slight chance of passing showers, becoming fair and breezy tonight. Small craft cautions in effect for boaters. Temperatures right now around 74 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Look for highs getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure expected to remain across the islands with fresh to moderate winds. So for Wednesday, partly sunny and breezy with a chance of a few passing showers, becoming fair and breezy at night with a chance of isolated showers. Thursday, partly sunny and breezy with a chance of a few passing isolated showers, becoming fair and breezy at night with a chance of showers. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
For sale. It's our third look at this place. Let's buy.
Here we come. Home ownership is a big deal, so move in merrily with CIBC First Caribbean. With your new mortgage, you'll get half off the appraisal cost, commitment fee, and more. Enjoy up to 95% financing and a homeowner benefits card, redeemable at selected hardware, furniture, and appliance stores. Nice zone. We moved in.
Merrily.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/move merrily for details.
Speed doesn't come easy. It takes your investment in your goals, your time, your full effort, full dedication. And when you think you've done enough, do it again. It takes precision, not just doing it, but doing it as best as possible. Day in, day out. And just like BTC, I will stop at nothing to make the people of the Bahamas stand up and cheer. That's what fuels me and why I'm a proud ambassador of BTC. Because we share a common desire to elevate your internet experience so you elevate everything you do with it and make it the best it can be. Switch to BTC Superfast Internet and elevate what's next.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street. has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. This World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage egg and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
It's over 5 years we've been here. Time to
CIBC First Caribbean. Home ownership is a big deal, so move on merrily with CIBC First Caribbean. Switch your mortgage, and you'll get half off the appraisal cost, commitment fee, and more. Enjoy up to US $10,000 toward your switching cost.
A peaceful rest. Glad we moved to CIBC First Caribbean.
merrily.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/move merrily for details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Goddamn, 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 goddamn. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Goddamn, oh man, goddamn, oh man. I got bills, I gotta pay, so I'm gonna work.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Don Sargent on this Tuesday morning. So everyone's getting into the 2/22/22 or 22/2/22 spirit. So Don, they're saying Happy Tuesday. Oh boy. I don't know. Do you like that one? You brought up Tuesday earlier.
Yes, I did.
Happy Tuesday, because it's a bunch of twos, of course. But anyway, hey. Yeah, man.
The texter said that?
This is, yeah, well. Mm-hmm.
And the texter is a great person.
Yes, absolutely.
Great minds think alike.
Okay. All right. Well, this will be a good day.
Two of a kind, eh?
Yeah. This sounds like a good day to do something that you might need good luck for, right? So,
Yeah,
So think about it.
you
We've got
know.
many out, and maybe at 2:00 or 2:22. Right?
Should have a. I can't say that. Yeah, great,
about
great libations and stuff. You know.
Maybe more special than that, right?
Wow, what's more special than some food, some Bahamian food, some rare Bahamian food you don't get to eat all the time, like some okra soup.
Do some of the things that you don't normally do. Today would be the day to do it.
Make stew fish. That's what I'll do, Dwight. You're a great thinker, you know. Good point.
I'm not suggesting any of the things you're saying, but that's good. But do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. But today would be the day to do it, it seems. Today would be the day. 2/22/22.
No, if we're gonna go the Flag Day, I think it should also be a thing where a lot of restaurants, like serve.
Oh, now which one were we talking about? Were you talking about 22222 or 242?
The 242 day.
Okay.
I was thinking
I'm thinking about today to do the special. Okay. But yes. On 242. 242, yes. We've got to.
Let's get some okra soup.
Everything Bahamian. I will do fever grass instead of the green tea I'm currently drinking. Yeah.
Are you actually going to do that, Dwight? Are you actually going to make?
Oh, I don't know.
Where are you getting it from?
I don't know if I will make it, but that I will try to seek it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then other Bahamian things on 242. 242 day this Thursday. All right. Want to like I said, let's get to this
National Conch Day. That'd be a good one, right?
Well, I think that's every day. Wow. No.
You pick up with the left one. I see you. I see you.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this. This is an interesting ruling from the Privy Council, and it says that conveyances of land without subdivision approval since as early as 2011 null and void. Take a listen to this report by our Jared Higgs.
The case involved the purchase of a piece of property in Exuma by American Malik Momin from February Point Resort Estates Limited. The property was in an unapproved subdivision, so the purchaser refused to accept the conveyance and demanded the nearly $1 million in purchase money be returned. The Privy Council ruled that Section 62 of the Planning and Subdivision Act 2010 makes it a criminal offense to convey land without the necessary approval, and the conveyance is therefore null and void.
We have no doubt that there are thousands of conveyances which are affected by this. And not only are the individual landowners affected, you also have banks who would have issued mortgages on the security of these conveyances, or in other words, the collateral that the banks are holding for these mortgages. So the domino effect that we anticipate is going to be rather significant.
It's an important case that saw attorney Christina Galanos, who specializes in litigating matters, travel to the Privy Council in London. Pinling, who the matter originated with, says the purpose of subdivision approval is to ensure that utilities like roads, lights, and water are installed in communities before people start building. He says in the worst scenarios, you could end up like Olympic gold medalist Ramon Miller, who went public with his challenges getting electricity and other utilities to his government-gifted property in Tropical Gardens.
He was granted a piece of land, which I think wasn't granted subdivision approval. And as a result of that, he's running his generator 24/7 because there's no infrastructure. And so that is the upshot of selling land in a subdivision without subdivision approval. The purchasers now are left to put in their own infrastructure.
The coin is that some innocent purchasers will no doubt want their conveyance to be valid, especially if they have furthered their investment on the property. Pinling says government, which has tried to address the issue of conveying land without subdivision approval, may need to write another law.
Just as Parliament did to validate the invalid conveyances that were made before the coming into force of the new Act, Parliament also has the option to go back to Parliament and to again amend the law so as to validate these conveyances which fall into this category.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Jared Higgs.
Okay, let's get your reaction to this, folks. The onus on Parliament. Go back and make some better laws. That seems to be the answer to so many of the challenges we're facing. But if you're in this situation, if you've experienced this, let's talk. Tell us what you've been going through and what's been happening here. Give us a call, 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. I'd love to know more about this. Are people thinking that the developer has the approval and not knowing that they don't? Or are they also like, well, yeah, you don't have it yet, but you're going to, I'm sure. Is that what you're assuming? What's happened here? Have you been misled, or... I don't understand.
But what does this mean for individual property owners? Let's say, for instance, you buy a lot in a subdivision that doesn't have the infrastructure completed. but the developer is saying, yeah, I can put the infrastructure in. Like, does this give some recourse to take the developer to court or something? Like what is the end result of this?
These are all good questions. Yeah, we're going to have to get some expert about it, definitely, but we'll have to know what exactly has been happening here and how many people are likely to be affected by this. How many people? We got a couple messages here before we go to the news. We'll pick this up on the other side of the news, but this person says here, Dwight, the land policies and laws in the 242 are the weirdest in the region. Remember the Privy Council said decades ago that our land laws are legalized stealing. Yes, they've been saying that. Someone says here, it can be fixed. If you're talking about this, yes, I'm sure, right? So let's get to it. We'll pick this up on the other side of the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now day 23, time for another check of your weather for today. Brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got high pressure continuing to dominate weather across the country, generating some fresh winds around the islands. Beachgoers should exercise caution along eastern shorelines due to the risk of rip currents. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly sunny and breezy conditions with a chance of a light passing shower or two, becoming fair and breezy tonight. Smallcraft caution remains in effect for boaters. Temperatures getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 68 Fahrenheit, 20 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure is expected to remain across the islands with fresh to moderate winds. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're expecting partly sunny and breezy, continue passing isolated showers, becoming fair and breezy at night with a chance of showers. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. 8:24, time for another check of your traffic for this morning. A lot of hot spots and a lot of areas of concern for you this morning. If you're out and about and have to be somewhere very soon, you're going to have some challenges. Let's begin with Mile Butler Highway and your real-time traffic heavy traffic from, south of Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway. That's in the northbound lanes. And Tonic-Williams-Darling Highway is going to be backed up for you as well, westbound to that roundabout. Then there's Gladstone Road, also heavy traffic northbound. And JFK Drive along the lake there, you're going to be seeing that traffic as you try to get to that roundabout. So keep that in mind. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic from well south of St. Vincent Road all the way up to Independence Drive, especially north of Soldier Road. And then Independence Drive just looking terrible. Both directions, really awful, heavy traffic, west and eastbound this morning. Avoid Independence Drive if you can. Today, you might do better if you can make it to Soldier Road or to Robinson. East Street also seeing some heavy traffic from Sapodilla Boulevard all the way up to the intersection with Robinson Road, especially in the northbound lanes, and especially between Soldier and the East-West Highway roundabout. Then we've got Eastern Road, heavy traffic from Fox Hill up to Johnson Road, Prince Charles Drive, many spots, including near Elizabeth Estates at the Intertrust Avenue, and then Soldier and Robinson, and that whole area between Old Trail and Soldier for Robinson Road, heavy traffic there as you make your way to the intersection with the East-West Highway and Mall at Marathon. Elsewhere on Carmichael, heavy traffic westbound to Coral Harbor Road, and we're seeing some traffic at the six-legged roundabout. In fact, multiple directions at the six-legged roundabout this morning. You're going to be seeing that there. So a lot of hot spots. Good luck to you. That's a real-time traffic in your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Don Sargent. And coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with UB, University of the Bahamas, Alumni Association. They've got some awards coming up, and we're going to get all the details about that and speak to some of the awardees this morning. All right, so, Don, before the break, we were talking with the Privy Council and what this means for landowners in subdivisions, well, seeking conveyances in subdivisions without subdivision approval. And so you heard the report. Let's read a little bit of what's in today's Guardian Business section. And then we'll get to some of your messages about this. And you can call us if you've experienced something like this before, if you're having challenges, if you just found out that maybe you are in such a subdivision. Let's talk. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right, the story here by our Paige McCartney. The Privy Council ruled against an appeal launched by February Point Resorts Estates Limited regarding a dispute over repayment for land on Exuma, which was purchased more than 20 years ago by American Malik Momin. The board of the Privy Council ruled that February Point Estates Limited must repay Momin the purchase price paid plus interest on the lot he purchased in the Exuma development based on Section 62, Part 1 of the Planning and Subdivision Act 2010, which states that any conveyance made after the act comes into effect regarding lots not granted prior to subdivision approval shall be null and void. All right? Any conveyance made after the act comes into effect regarding lots not granted prior to subdivision approval shall be null and void. The particulars of the case are that Momin in February 2008 entered into a sales agreement to purchase lot number 36 Elizabeth Harbor Estates on Exuma for $895,000. After paying for the property in full in February 2013, Moman argued that he was entitled to the return of the money because February Point had not obtained the subdivision approval required by the 2010 Act. And by reason of Section 61, Part 2, there could be no valid conveyance to him. So the defendant, February Point, argued that it was able and willing to convey the property to the plaintiff, and that applying Section 62.2, that conveyance would be null and void, even though there had been a failure to obtain the necessary approval for the subdivision. The plaintiff was therefore not entitled to the return of the purchase price paid. The case was originally held before Justice Andrew Charles, who ruled in favor of February Point. However, the decision was then reversed by the Court of Appeal. As a result, the matter was taken to the Privy Council. The matter was held before Lord Hodge, Lord Briggs, Lady Arden, Lord Sales, and Lord Burroughs, with Candace Hepburn representing the appellant, February Point, and Richard Wilson QC, and Christina Galanos representing the defendant, Malik Moman. We heard from Christina Galanos in the report we played before the break. Noting the differing interpretations on the law raised by each party's counsel, the board gave its lengthy reasoning, rejecting the submissions of Candace Hepburn, counsel for February Point, which in summary was that there is no need, as a matter of contract law or property law, as opposed to criminal law, for the conveyance to have the necessary approval. The purchaser is therefore bound to accept and is in breach of contract if he does not do so, a conveyance from the vendor, even though the subdivision does not have the necessary approval. That was her reasoning, right? Yeah? All right, so let's hear what the Privy Council said. Make sure I'm on the right story here. Okay. Though said, we consider in line with Mr. Wilson's submissions that the correct interpretation focuses on what Section 62.1 plainly lays down, which is that any post-act conveyance of a lot made without the necessary approval is null and void as regards a post-act conveyance. It does not matter whether the agreement to convey was made before or after the act, because any post-act conveyance without the necessary approval is invalid. It is only pre-act conveyances that are valid under Section 62.2. Nothing is expressly laid down in Section 62 as regards the validity or invalidity of post-act agreements to convey lots where there has been no subdivision approval, but Section 62.2 lays down that pre-act agreements to convey without the necessary approval are valid. However, although a pre-act agreement to convey without the necessary approval is valid, there can be no valid post-act conveyance under the agreement because of Section 62.1. Okay. So, yeah, we need to break this down further with some legal minds. But in conclusion, the Privy Council ruled that for these reasons, the board will humbly advise Her Majesty that the appeal should be dismissed, lest there be any doubt. We see no good reason to grant February Point Resort Estates Limited any further indulgence in terms of obtaining the necessary subdivision approval, and therefore February Point Resorts should now repay Malik Monin the purchase price paid plus interest. Wow. Okay, all right. Let's get your views on this really quickly.
So have to return the monies they get from persons that buy lots if they didn't get approval.
I don't know if you have to do it across the board or if it will be everybody who sues. Right? Because that's going to be a lot. The report you heard there that everybody who's done so purchased property in subdivisions that have not received the approval, that their agreements are likely null and void. We've got a call, and I want to read some of these messages quickly before we go to a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Don. How are you doing this morning?
Doing well. Good morning.
Alive.
Two questions for you. Are developers not required by law to post either in a newspaper or on their property that they have approval? Are they not required to post that approval if they have it, so that prospective buyers of their lots can know whether or not that subdivision is approved?
It should be required, hey? I
They
don't know
should
if they
be.
are.
You would think
You
so.
would think. It seems so simple.
Indeed. And the other question I have is, how does this law now affect shanty towns? Because shanty towns, by their very definition, are not entities that are not developments that are approved or given approval to be established, because they are illegal establishments. So how... I really would like to hear what a legal mind thinks.
I'm sure this law doesn't apply to that, but that's already
Pardon?
illegal. I'm sure this doesn't apply to that, but that is already a legal matter, and I don't know why
No,
that's taking
what
so
I'm trying
long.
to understand, hear me carefully. I'm wondering now that if this ruling, as it does say that no conveyance can be had if a property is not, if a development is not approved. My point is the spirit of that ruling is what I'm concerned about. Being that shantytown residents do not have, or developers rather, do not have approval in law, which is the spirit in this ruling, how does that or may that affect shantytowns? I would really love if you guys can ask a legal mind that question whenever you may have that, have them on to discuss this matter. Thank you, buddy.
All right, we'll do that. Lawyers can make anything. But
actually, based on what you would have read about the ruling and what would have been said in the news article. Plus, someone sent me the article yesterday from a different broadcaster. What I gather is that if it's a situation, I suppose, where it's a developer that sold somebody land and then they develop it to do shanty. I don't know, because technically shanty towns aren't the code in general. So like there's a bunch of other violations those housing developments tend to have in the first place. So, it's a good question. I think if anything, very little, but if it does actually, it would just be compounding on already established breaches of law. But that's a good question. But I also wonder, is it the case that a lot of shanty towns are in subdivisions by private citizens and developers? Or are they, I don't know, or is it just land in general? I don't know.
Let's not get into that. That's a whole other show. But but that is also a legal matter. So shanty towns, that's another complicated thing. But all of this, as we've mentioned before, as the lawyers have mentioned, can be fixed in law. And for some reason, we are playing around with this stuff, right? Playing around. Oh boy, the phone lines are lit up, and we have to go. But let's take one more call, and then we'll read some text messages, and we got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi.
I'm your co-host.
Good morning.
Now, this is how they make their money. Before the land is conveyed, the road is done. They start selling lots. So, what's first? All this stuff has to be done in. But that's what they've been doing for years. Winter in the States. My mother bought it when it was a dirt road. We went to Heights. I got something in the early 90s. The other state, I get the man wanted $40,000 for a lot. I would give him half. That's why he ain't on it. Where he went to court. So now I would have $200,000 right now, but he just selling lots. I conveyed. So now a lot of people been buying lots from these new subdivision, but without the proper deeds. So that's how the man who owned the lot make the money to put in the pipes on BEC. Feel me?
I hear you. Yeah. Okay. It's risky.
Yeah.
Very, very serious. Yeah. Let's read these messages really quickly. This one says here, once again, this proves why we must be careful when voting for these lawyers to be MPs. Okay. Lawyers make laws to create jobs for themselves after being kicked out. Wow. 2017 was the first when the majority elected were not lawyers. Now we're back to, oh boy. Okay. Yeah, we need better laws. Sure. This person says here, they call the name of a group. Wow. I checked on that company and only found that phase 1 was approved. I didn't see phase 2 approved on the ministry site. People are living in phase 2. Oh boy. Oh boy, that's scary. This text here, hey Dwight, in regards to laws, I think we're too focused on female rights and feminine issues, which is the reason we can't get much things in order. You heard that right, folks. That's a text. That's a text. That's a text. That's a text.
You know, we were actually discussing. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Ignoring. Moving
Let's
on.
just move right on. Yeah. Every subdivision should have a certified land surveyor plan that is approved, I guess, by the Ministry of Works or Physical Planning. This allows for water and sewage, BPL, cable, etc., to install infrastructure. In short, don't buy land unless there is a subdivision approved plan somewhere in the works with a stamped surveyed plan. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Raises questions, though. What if it's an instance where hypothetically there is an approval, but there's no infrastructure put in place yet? Like what? Then what?
Beware. Another one says here: could the government land and surveys provide a list of all the subdivisions that they've approved?
That would be nice, actually. Is that information publicly accessible? Is there like a database we could just like search up something and then try and find something? For instance, buying a lot.
No idea. But those folks, we implore them to do more education, to come out to talk to people about these things. A lot of these departments never speak about anything. And these are the things that people are struggling through every day. I don't understand. But anyway, another one here. It's been a practice for the Ministry of Works to grant land developers permission to sell property in an unapproved subdivision with the objective of the developers using the funds acquired to put in the proper infrastructure. That's what that texter just said, such as roads, light poles, and water lines. However, land developers have sometimes taken the money and not developed the property and left purchasers with land that's undeveloped without any infrastructure. Very sad. Yeah. This person says, this country makes no sense. How could this be when all the conveyance went through the government and title? So what or how did the Registrar General record? Another thing here, how do these things happen when, by way of our system, it's set up by lawyers and they have to do title searches, physical planning, Ministry of Works, land and surveys, etc. All are involved in the purchase and conveyance of land. Yeah, it's a lot. Let's squeeze in one call, and then we've got to take our break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. You're on the air.
What are you doing?
Doing well.
I got some people go after you. I put it in the port, so I'll bring it by the office. Let's pass the trail, right?
Okay. Well,
Yeah, Dwight, you see, that's why I keep telling you all that Moses too, they do what they do in this bar, they're killing us. See, but you all are the real BMS, you and down them. You all are the 73 BMS, man. See, I am a part of God, say the Queen. And like the text is saying, the lawyers pass laws so they can make money, the counts can make money, and all these people. See, but they can be punished, you know. They can have to be punished for the wrong in this country. For a long time, people are stealing people's land, quite entire lot. They think the thing. See, the Bahamas is one of the only countries in the world don't amend nothing, you know. But that's cool. This generation of Bahamas can fix these things. See, we ain't getting no lawyers anymore. We ain't getting no police. We ain't getting nobody. Because right now, we've been getting sued every day now for doing wrong to our people. See, right? By 2027, the most school, they got to go. We need to retire all at one time, man. And thank my God.
Okay. All right. We're going to pick this up at some point, hopefully with some experts in here who can really talk to us. And give advice to folks who find themselves in this situation. But hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're talking with UB about their Alumni Association and awards. This is exciting stuff. We're going to meet some of the recipients. Yeah. That's coming up after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
We believe in relationship banking. We take pride in getting to know our clients. You have access to knowledgeable, approachable ambassadors and financial coaches so that we can recommend the best product for you. At Fidelity, we care about you. From your financial health to your physical health, we can relate to you because we're just like you. Come and start your relationship banking experience with us today. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Visit any of our branches in Nassau or Grand Bahama, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau, or 352-6676 for Freeport.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
I have to take a business trip, and I want John to keep things running while I'm away. How can I ensure he keeps within budget? Maybe I need to get him a camera to record everything he does 24/7. Maybe not. Instead, get RBC Credit Share, the RBC credit card feature that allows you to easily and safely share funds with employees for free. And you set the spending limit, so you're always in control. Find out more at rbc.com/Caribbean/credit share. Special conditions apply.
Good day, Airborne Freight and Cargo Services. How may I help you today?
Hey, listen, I just heard about you all, man.
Yes, sir. How may I help you, sir?
I hear you all giving out free things. And I's a mom with 12 children. I love free things.
Well, yes, sir. If you're ordering with Airborne Freight and Cargo Services for the first time, we will be giving you prizes just for shipping with us.
Hold on, wait. What are y'all giving out so?
Well, we're giving away gas vouchers, coupons from various outlets, up to 20% off your shipping fee, and so much more.
Could y'all please stop slamming my door? None of y'all pay no bills inside you. Sorry about that, Mom. Hey, y'all is ship double shoulders cause this woman expecting twins again, Dread.
Airborne Freight and Cargo Services. Get rewarded for being a new customer on top of our already low rates. Call us at 377-0450 or visit us on Facebook at Ship Airborne for more information.
To college, and she needs access to money. But I'm worried about her spending. Maybe I can create an alarm that goes off every time she overspends. Or I'll just move in with her. Hi, Rumi. Or just get RBC Credit Share, the RBC credit card feature that allows you to easily and safely share funds with family members for free. And you set the spending limit so you're always in control. Find out more at rbc.com/Caribbean/credit share. Special conditions apply.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
So I'm flying back to the island, so let's go. When you're heading big, that drum and calypso. Na-na-na, there's a party going on. Talk on no till the break of dawn. Sweet music, man, I mix. Everybody, here we go.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Don Sargent. And the big day is fast approaching. It is Saturday, February 26th, the University of the Bahamas Hall of Fame and Outstanding Alumni Awards. And I'm very pleased to have a full crew with us this morning to talk about all of this. Very pleased to have the Director of Alumni Affairs at UB, Elvardo Thompson. And we have the UB Alumni Association President, Jasmine Romer-Roll. We have Katura Bab, who's the Director of Advancement at UB North and also the Emerging Leader Awardee this year. And we have Khalil Parker, who is receiving the Trailblazer Award. He is a partner at Cedric Parker & Co. and still the Bar Association President, right, Khalil?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, great to have you with us. And are we still expecting Reginald Saunders to join us?
Morning, Dwight. Unfortunately, he's not able to make it anymore.
Okay, all right. But he's going to be the Hall of Fame awardee and inductee. All right, so congratulations to everybody, and great to have you all with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so I guess Elvardo Thompson and Jasmine Romero, you can give us a little background about the Alumni Association and alumni affairs at UB before we get into what we can expect this weekend and talk to our award winners, our awardees this morning.
Okay, I'll let my Director of Alumni Affairs start us off this morning. So take it away, Alvaro.
Okay. Thank you, Jasmine. And good morning, Bahamas. I'm so happy to be here to basically share with you. This year is our fourth annual Alumni Awards reception, and we're so happy to be here and happy to honor this year's awardees. And so here at UB, we're big on establishing traditions. And so the Alumni Awards reception is actually part of our homecoming week, which is always the first week in November. And it coincides with our charter day, which is November 10th. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond our control, it got postponed to this February 26th, which is this Saturday. So we're still happy to be able to continue the rich tradition and to be able to honor 7 wonderful awardees this year.
Okay, wonderful stuff. Okay, so tell us the names. We only named 3 so far, but tell us the names of all 7.
Okay, so in the emerging leader category, and for the class of 2011, we have Ms. Katura Bab, who's on with us today, and Ms. Tanya McFarland Major. And for the Trailblazer category, celebrating the class of 2001, Mr. Khalil Parker and Gabrielle Archer. And for the Outstanding Alumni category, class of 1991, we have Dr. Indira Grimes and Dario Cox. And for the class of 1981, which is the Hall of Fame awardees, we have Mr. Reginald Saunders and Sonia Cox Hamilton.
All right, those are some big names. We know all of them. Great stuff. As we can see, these are folks who graduated in the 10, 20, 30 intervals going back. This would have been from last year, 2021.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And so this year will be for those who graduated in 10, 20, 30, et cetera, from this year, 2022.
We're hoping to establish a rich tradition of class anniversaries. And so once, sometime in the near future, UB will be building a brand new dormitories. And so students will have, all incoming freshmen will be required to live on campus. And so we are going to establish rich traditions of class anniversaries, homecomings, the alumni barbecues, all of the things that students would normally get and alumni would normally get if they were to go abroad into any international university. So this is just a start of many, many things to come.
Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. All right, so let's talk to Katura Bab and Khalil Parker. Congratulations again. Let's talk about being recognized in this manner and what that means to you, and about your time at COB-UB.
Thank you, Dwight. I've been with the university, working with the university for a significant amount of time. And now, from all the hard work and everything that we've been doing, everything that's been done in the community, it's a special moment now to be acknowledged by the university for everything that's been done so far. We stand on the backs of a lot of giants who have really been history makers in this country, who have impacted the world when it comes to alumni. So it's now amazing to it's a moment really to sit back and consider that you're being honored with similar persons as well. My time at UB was in the 2011, I graduated. So that was really in the early 2000s. I would say, because I started at the Northern campus and then transitioned to Nassau. And so the Northern campus was transitioning from professional development courses into really bringing on freshmen and other persons in that area. Then I transitioned to Nassau. At UB, I always say I attended the best psychology program I studied psychology there. I was trained by the best, and they really set me on a path that took me to where I am today.
That's wonderful. Wow. Okay. All right. And Khalil Parker.
Yes. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Don and everybody. UB was my time at COB, as it then were formative years, post high school, coming into adulthood. I studied history. Before I went to COB, if you didn't go to my high school or you didn't go to my church, I didn't know you. so COB really gave me a chance to meet people from across the length and breadth of the Bahamas. That was valuable. I was also there in that transitionary period between when everybody was picked up by their parents or caught the bus and then when everybody got their own cars.
Right.
It was a festival of everybody trying to hike ride in the A block at 7 o'clock at night to a parking lot full of students the next year. The program was rigorous. I still recommend that, it's a brilliant place to go, and it has expanded from what it was in my day, which was a good first step, to a place where you can get a full tertiary education. I'm very proud to see where it is going. The university is going to be integral to our national development moving forward, and I am honored to be honored at this time when it appears that the requisite national focus is being placed on this centerpiece of our strategy for expanding the options for the next generation. So I'm very pleased to be amongst my colleagues being recognized, and I'm proud to celebrate where UB has come from, which I represent, and where it's going.
Yeah. Boy, Khalil, you bring back some memories with your stories. I remember them all too well. Wow. But Jasmine, tell us more about the association today, the Alumni Association, and how active are our former UB, COB students with what's happening at the university today?
Well, Dwight, I am so excited to be the chairperson for the Alumni Association at this time. It had been quiet in the last few years, but we are starting to see a lot more alumni engagement pick up. Recently, we just had a lunch and listen session on Zoom, and I was surprised to see that there were nearly 50 people on a Zoom session in 2022 when we're all Zoomed out. So that was fun, and we're continuing to do that every month. Obviously, in the iteration that COVID happened, so there are so many mix and mingle events that we would want to have, but we're trying to make sure we stay as cautious as possible and also take into consideration that there are some financial constraints. But there are alumni who are interested. They just need to know that things are happening, and that's why I'm so happy that we're on the show today to be able to discuss the fact that we are doing this Alumni Awards. And regardless of COVID, we are actually having the awards. It's socially distant, or not social. Let me don't say socially distant, because we're all going to be very social, but we're going to be physically distant and safe. And everybody's going to be able to present either their proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. So that means we could party very safely. But we are very excited just to be able to recognize and celebrate our alumni. We have so many great alumni in our community. They're in leadership, they're in politics, they're all over the place, and they're making a big difference. So we need to be able to celebrate each and every one of them as best as we can.
Yeah, you're talking to two right now, Don and myself, right? So, hey. And yeah, so
big things.
We're all around proud COB UB graduates. All right, so tell us more about Saturday. Give us a hint there. What can we expect exactly Saturday night?
Okay, so this Saturday, February 26th at Crypto Isle, but you may know it as the former Luciano's, we will be meeting at 7 o'clock p.m. for a cocktail-style ceremony, which means we will be eating and drinking. I know some people love that. And we will be celebrating this year or last year's honorees, because we're also going to be having this event again in November. But we'll be celebrating these honorees. Most of our vendors for our event on Saturday are actually alumni. Our DJ is an alum, Cam the Comfort. Our caterer, she is an alum, Aaliyah Rowell. She is from the class of 2014. We wanted to be able to utilize as many alum as possible and also just pay it forward at the end of the day. Alum are excited to give back. And if we can in any way assist them and support them, that's very important to us.
All right. Tickets. How much tickets? Where can we get tickets from? How many people can you accommodate? What are we looking at?
Tickets are $75. They can be purchased at Chapter 1 Bookstore. We know that the COVID regulations have now allowed for 100 persons to attend an outdoor event. It is outdoor, which means it is safer than being closed in. But yes, we're planning for as many that can possibly come within the COVID regulations. So you can pick up your tickets from Chapter 1 Bookstore. The cost is $75. It goes toward a good cause. Part proceeds go to the UB Annual Fund. Alvaro can talk more about that. But also proceeds also go to the Alumni Association so that we can continue to have these kinds of events and celebrate with you.
Wow. All right. And how long are you expecting to go on for Saturday night, 7 to... Is it 2 until? Were we back to that yet? You remember when everything used to be 2 until? Oh, boy. We're there?
Well, the committee may be partying until, but the program will go from 7 to about 9:30.
Ah, okay. All right. Wonderful. All right. Sting UB and what's next for the Alumni Affairs Department and for the association?
Yes, thank you, Dwight. So as Jasmine would have mentioned, part proceeds goes towards the university's annual fund, which is a pivotal fundraising arm of the university. All proceeds from the annual fund goes towards assisting the university with its greatest needs funds, and as well as assisting our students financially. We have a lot of students that are, and we're happy that we're receiving the government tertiary grant, but we still have a lot of students that are in need, whether it's through books or housing. And so part proceeds will go towards assisting students in need. The annual fund also assists, departments in schools. We have our athletic team. They need uniforms, equipment, our school of music, our labs. Students need constantly lab equipment. It constantly needs to be upgraded. So all these proceeds from the annual fund will go towards assisting those various schools. And if persons are interested in, and especially our alum, if they're interested in giving back or donating in any form or way, they can always contact myself or Ms. Couture Bab at UB North. My personal contact is 302-4303, elvado.thompson@ub.edu.bs. We're always willing to accept any donations.
Okay, all right, that sounds great. And that number again, 302...
302-4303 and elvado.thompson@ub.edu.bs. Or they can just contact the university director's office.
Wonderful stuff. And Jasmine, what is next? What are you going to be working on next? What can we expect from the Alumni Association over the next few months?
Awesome. So like I said, Dwight, we currently have a monthly series that we just began, the Alumni Lunch and Listen. We're looking forward to having more alum, and we actually have scheduled Gershon Major. He will be speaking on the 18th of March. So he's next. We have a lot more in store. We're looking to have some kind of social in the summer. We're hoping that COVID behaves so that we can have some fun, just to mix and mingle. And then we're also looking forward to the homecoming events in November. Like I said, we're going to have the Alumni Awards once again in November. And we're hoping to kick off the homecoming week with that event. So that's what we have up our sleeves for right now.
Okay. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Oh, man. Again, congratulations to Katira Babb and Khalil Parker and Reginald Saunders, who we're going to talk to, and all the other awardees this year. And this is very good stuff. And again, Saturday at 7 at Crypto Isle. You still can get your tickets.
Chapter 1 bookstore.
Oi. Alvardo Thompson and Jasmine Romer Roll, Katira Babb, Khalil Parker. Congratulations again, and thank you very much. And hope everybody has a blast on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dwight.
All right. We're going to take a break and be back with Morning Blend Business. Don, thank you so much. I know you have to run. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking with Latrey Ramming, Director of Communications, in just a bit. We'll be right back.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. This morning, we are talking with the Director, Latrey Ramming. Very pleased to have him with us. Good morning, Latrey Ramming. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, hi, good morning.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, so we're going to talk about the COVID rules, but we hope we can get into some other issues as well while we have you with us. But let's begin with that. This is seen as good news for a lot of people that we're heading in the right direction. Let's talk about it. How close are we to seeing what we're seeing in other parts of the world where they're trying very hard to get back to normal without even requiring masks? Are we anywhere near that yet, or what are we looking at here?
Well, I think, thanks for having me. I think the Ministry of Health, along with its NEC, EOC, continue to monitor the COVID situation in the Bahamas. Of course, we are, the Minister would have indicated, encouraged by the progress we're making on the front of COVID-19. There is still an ongoing effort to ensure that we continue to increase our vaccination numbers and ensure that Bahamians have access to free testing. And we have a very rigorous and robust booster campaign to show that we could get as much Bahamians protected against new variants and the possibility of future waves. Insofar as normalcy, I think, like you would have indicated, the world is trying to find ways to adapt to this new normal and how to coexist with the virus. There are some compounding issues for us in the Bahamas. We still have some degree of challenges with hospital capacity and the availability of health professionals. And I think this would definitely a measuring stick, a balancing act for the government in a way that, insofar as it does not any movement to normalcy, does not compromise that healthcare system. I think ultimately that is really what we seek to protect, to to ensure that we are unable to handicap the healthcare service capacity to respond to additional healthcare needs outside of COVID-19 patients. So I think that's really the give and take of it. But I think that we all realize that there's some elements of COVID fatigue. There's some elements of wanting to get on with life. But I think that we recognize that this is a partnership, and the government has identified that fixing the economic system is compounded on how well we manage COVID-19. And the way Bahamians could help us in this exercise is we encourage more Bahamians to get vaccinated and get their booster shots, which basically reduces the possibility of severe, some cases, death.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit. There have been some complaints that it seems that the interest level in getting vaccines for those that are still holding out there, I mean, it's almost fallen off a cliff, that people aren't talking about it much anymore, and that even the interest in the boosters much lower than it should be. What are you doing? What's the government doing to get more people interested? I know there was talk about incentivizing people. Where do things stand with that? What are we looking at?
I think that one of the things that the government is currently evaluating is the barriers that prevent persons from wanting to receive their vaccines. I think it may become slightly difficult as U.S. cities and countries are beginning to roll away vaccine mandates. I think it's becoming reiterating the personal choice of protection. Insofar as the government of the Bahamas, we are identifying a much more robust public education campaign. We're not satisfied that, I mean, ordinarily in the initial phase of the vaccine rollout, you had persons who won. There was the movement in the U.S. Policy to require vaccines. Then there was a overwhelming response by elderly Bahamians. And so everyone who wanted to get vaccinated, now you're reaching to the point of having to deal with the high element of hesitancy. Persons who, for lack of better words, either is operating from a point of misinformation, general concern about whether or not the vaccine could impact them in other areas. Some persons who, for medical purposes, cannot take it at the time. And there are those persons who really are committed to not doing it at all. And I think that the government approach is separating each of those individuals and seeing what kind of level of policy and public relations insofar as getting the information in layman's terms, putting trusted faces out there who people could trust. I'm not certain that politicians are ideally the best persons to be rallying a person to take vaccines. So definitely people want to hear from their medical professionals or their medical doctors to really encourage them to make the right decisions for themselves and their family.
Any idea when we will start to see that ramped up?
I think there's a preliminary process ending to get a understanding of what is promoting the hesitancy. What the government is doing now is a more centralized decentralization of the vaccines. And I think looking at putting the vaccines in private care, where it could be administered through the private offices. The next component of that plan is also to go into the community, you would have seen, I think it was last weekend or 2 weekends ago, the pop-up sites that's happening through New Providence, where the Ministry of Health, through a social mobility program, is going to the community to roll out boosters. So I think now you have to go to the people, talk with them, sit with them on the blocks and encourage them to get vaccinated. We're going to spend a lot of, as we get into this new normal, government's going to spend a lot of emphasis on public education around health and safety protocols. So we give people the information they need to protect themselves.
All right, so we talked about this a bit on the show yesterday, and again, most people pretty much in support of this, and some were saying get rid of everything, but of course we are on a long journey here. But there were some concerns that, sure, while it's great that we're allowing more people to attend events, social events, or religious services, but who's really going to be enforcing? Who's going to be making sure, monitoring that folks are sticking to the rules, sticking to the guidelines in that regard?
Well, there's two things. I think, if you look at this, you got the religious community, you have the business community, and you have the general workplace spaces. And so these workplace spaces, businesses and churches would have their guidelines for entrance. So if you go to a pharmacy, of course, the pharmacy will say to you, in order to enter, you have to sanitize and wear a mask. And there are persons inside the store who was really centrally reminding persons to do their part. With social gatherings, it becomes somewhat of a challenge because it's, of course, it's social interaction. And this is why there is an encouragement for persons to understanding the nature of those activities to show proof of vaccination, and B, show proof of a negative COVID-19 test to ensure that there's a safe environment, ensure that if you are interacting in a space with persons, whether it's 40 on the inside, 100 on the outside, and you were to contract the virus, and if you're vaccinated, you could fare pretty well. And so there's a combination of stuff that we have to depend on. Most importantly, we have to depend on businesses and churches trying to really enforce it at that level. We're trying to, insofar as what persons would have witnessed under the previous administration on the initial stages of COVID, with this overt criminalization of the activity, we really don't want to get to that point, particularly as we enter this new phase of COVID, of living with the virus. I mean, you shouldn't have to get to the point where you have to criminalize behavior. Act on criminalizing the behavior, because there is breaches for offenses.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this briefly with Director of Labor Robert Farquharson last week, but we continue to hear of people saying that their business is requiring them to take the vaccine or to be vaccinated. It's one thing, I guess, if you're a new hire, but if you are an existing employee, we've been back and forth on this, on where the law stands, but what's the government's official position on this now?
Well, I think the government has been consistent with it. There is no emphasis on mandatory vaccinations. Our position is that vaccines remain, getting vaccinated remains a personal choice between persons and an individual choice. I think we leave it primarily up to, and that is where the government remains. I think that's our policy on the matter. We believe, for the most part, persons' health decisions is a private decision. And whilst we do implore on persons that getting vaccinated is the right thing to do, we also recognize that it's a personal decision that they have to make themselves.
Mm-hmm. And the people saying they're being threatened with termination or have been terminated because of this.
I think I would encourage persons to mirror that of the government of the Bahamas. I think that we have to really meet people where they are and encourage them. Of course, I think this is something, I guess, government must, through the Chamber of Commerce and the Ministry of Labor, engage on the matter in a way that we could be particularly much more sensitive to where persons are in this COVID-19 pandemic. There are persons who are generally afraid of the vaccine for whatever reason, and we have to be able to see how we pull back that level of hesitancy that persons may have.
Yeah. The travel requirements, the fifth day after arrival, anyone entering the Bahamas or traveling inter-island from Grand Bahama Province required to undergo a rapid antigen test on the fifth day after arrival. Are you having challenges with people following up and doing these things? How are things looking at this time, and what can be done to increase compliance with these rules?
One of the things I could say, insofar as that, initially, I mean, that maybe locals, visitors usually not necessarily, in most instances, they comply with this policy framework. But residents, they're encouraged to do the exact same thing, and keep in mind that this is not cost intuitive to anybody. The government has free testing, so if you have traveled abroad and you're returning back home on your fifth day, go and get a test, just for your own assurance that you are fine, as you may socialize amongst your family and in the workplace. So it's not a cost to residents. So if you did travel to the States and you're returning on your fifth day, go and get tested. It's free. You could go on covidtest.gov.bs and get your free test. So I think that it's just, for the most part, Dwight, ensuring that there are double layers of surveillance and protection. You may present with a negative test at the borders, and then on the fifth day, the third or fifth day, you realize that you have COVID-19. So I think it's just safety for all involved, and it's a secondary screening.
And for those out there, we get them every day on the show, but who are saying that it's just time to drop everything one more time to those people who are thinking that we've just
let me allow them to be sensitive to where we are. When you see countries like UK, California, states like California, and countries like the UK and European countries, and I think Denmark, these countries operate on two premises, right? They understand of COVID-19 to the extent to which the actual virus remains a threat to our society, right? And those countries have a very well-oiled health infrastructure system that could handle the capacity. If, for example, they get it wrong on the policy side of where we are with the virus. Now, the reason why there are measures are in place to underscore the threat of COVID-19. The view, most countries adopt the view that we should not maintain this virus. We should not maintain some of the protocols if the virus is no longer deemed a threat. For us in the Bahamas, that is a much difficult balancing act, right? Because we have to make decisions, one, recognizing that this is a country that depends entirely on the tourists, which heightens the likelihood of imported cases at the border if there aren't stronger protocols there. And so we have to understand that the thing that we're trying to protect at most is our healthcare system. And I think that once we are satisfied that we are in a space, we are a space of comfort and safety, that we are better able to say that how we can live with the virus. And a great part of that, for example, Dwight, is that Bahamians accept their personal responsibility in ensuring that they do their part and guaranteeing the safety of our people and themselves.
Yeah. I just want to read this text that just came in so you can see, I guess, the challenges you're going to face with your campaigns. This person says, Dwight, you are an instigator. That's, yep. No government or doctors can force me to get vaccinated because if anything happens to me, no government will take responsibility. They will just say she had an underlying health condition. Furthermore, half of those in the government's families haven't been vaccinated either. I don't know where she's getting that from. But you got a lot of people thinking like that, Trey Ramming. I mean, what do you do? What do you do?
I mean, at the end of the day, the great part of why those countries could go to a point of normalcy is that they have a percentage of 72 or 82% vaccinated in their country. If we want to get on with this virus, we have to ensure that we do the thing in protecting ourselves. And it remains a personal choice and decision. I think that some persons have some very untested views of the matter. But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision. I mean, let me give you, for example, I had persons in my family who, on the onset, took very long to my frustration, particularly during the Delta variant, of getting vaccinated, right? I had a relative of mine whose husband, brother-in-law, all died.
Wow.
During the Delta wave because they refused and they poke fun at getting vaccinated. And it took 3 persons dying for that household to get vaccinated. And so COVID-19 should not be something that people are still dying from in the Bahamas. And if they are immunocompromised, there is the availability of getting a booster shot. And so that is, I think, the challenge with the Omicron variant, whilst it's not confirmed in the Bahamas, it's not a severe strain of COVID-19. So it doesn't really motivate or encourage persons to get vaccinated because they believe that, okay, I'm fine. It's not a risk to my health. Persons say if I catch it, it'll be like the flu. And then to some persons who have received COVID, who have already catch COVID-19 and see themselves as having the immunity, the self-immunity from catching the virus that their body has built to response, that they don't need the vaccine. So there's layers of different complications that would cost the government to deal with the issue at different layers to ensure that we have a multi-layered response to those individuals.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about some other issues, if you don't mind, that are in the news today. We're talking with the Director of Communications, Trey Ramming. This is Morning Blend Business. Stay with us. We're going to be back in just a few. Stay with us.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Final look at traffic this morning. In the last 30 minutes or so, we saw a lot of traffic making their best efforts to get out of the outskirt areas and certainly into the city. Southwest Gateway still has that loaded traffic flow, though. You had hefty traffic lines along Gladstone Road, certainly some out on the highway. Not as bad on Carmichael Road, but Blue Hill Road was kind of stiff for a while there. As it gets later past 9 o'clock, some of these areas are doing well. Got to give congratulations again to the Mella Highway crew, because with the assistance of Connie Swindon and Grass Lane, a whole lot of that traffic got out of there. But still, close slap to 9 o'clock and a lot of traffic still hanging out. So it's a little challenge for everyone to leave those areas. Not as bad in some of the other areas. While you do have a strong traffic flow, leaving East Street, for example, in the Deep South, crossing over Soldier Road, their minor slow-up happens only at the intersection of the roundabout on East Street, with so much of the heavy traffic going on Independence Drive West Lane. And what's coming off on the other side, on the East Lane, kind of slows that area down. Once you're beyond Robinson Road, the ride into the city gets pretty easy. And this late, it's a bit calmer now on Marathon Road for the traffic heading out there onto Wolf Road. Same thing is happening at the intersection of Wolf, Village, Burnett, and Soldier Road. Over on the west end, we don't have that much challenge this morning. As once passing the roundabout at Sanders Beach, the ride coming into the city kind of eases up and makes your ride in a little bit better. This National Traffic Report service of J.S. Johnson, inviting you to check out their online jsjohnson.com quote page to get a quote for your home, your automobile, commercial property, and more. Call them at 397-2100. With your Sky look at traffic in real time, I'm VAAA.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Protesters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance, Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau, call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Almost 250 Bahamian entrepreneurs involved in the blue economy will benefit from a $200 million policy-based guarantee approved by the Inter-American Development Bank. That's according to an IDB statement, which explained that 50% of the Bahamas' gross domestic product is linked directly and indirectly to the blue economy. The statement explained that 250 local blue economy businesses employ about 1,666 workers, and that this includes women-led firms, which are often smaller and younger than average and operate in low-growth, low-profit markets. It added that 54.5% of wages in the country and 73% of employment are also linked to the economic impact of the blue economy. According to the IDB, the $200 million will help the country advance the development of projects to promote a healthier and more productive ocean in the country. The CFO, Chief Financial Officer of Emira, Greg Blunden, the Canada-based utility company that owns 100% of Grand Bahama Power Company, affirming that the return on equity for GBPC is trending positively, pointing to the recent approval of GBPC's rate increase application. Emira, in its fourth quarter 2021 earnings conference call, saying its Caribbean business is performing reasonable. And last month, the Grand Bahama Port Authority announced that it approved the company's application for a rate increase of 3.3%, necessary to maintain operations following challenges resulting from Hurricane Dorian and even Andrew, and the need for infrastructural upgrades and the desire to implement renewable energy. And Bahamas First Holdings has recorded solid growth for 2021 in its fourth quarter financial results, explaining that the top line revenue increased by 11% last year, with gross written premiums increasing by $17 million across the group. According to Bahamas First Group President and CEO Patrick Ward, the company achieved growth in almost every line of business in both the Bahamas and the Cayman Islands. He explains that the company generated comprehensive income in the fourth quarter of $5.8 million compared to $1.5 million in 2020. Overseas, Germany has taken steps to halt the process of certifying the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline from Russia. Chancellor Olaf Scholz saying today as the West starts taking punitive measures against Moscow over the Ukraine crisis. That decision, criticized by Moscow, is a significant move for the German government. Scholz saying his government made the decision in response to Russian President Vladimir Putin's recognition of the independence of two breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine that he said marked a serious break of international law. Up to now, Berlin has long resisted pulling the plug on the project, despite strong pressure from the United States and some European nations to do so. Washington has for years argued that building another pipeline bringing natural gas from Russia to Germany, especially one that bypasses Ukraine, increases Europe's reliance on Russian energy supplies. Meanwhile, oil prices surged today nearly 5%, and stock prices have dropped to recognize the independence of those rebel-held regions in Ukraine, raising fears of a full-scale invasion. Russia is a major energy producer, and the tensions over Ukraine have brought wide swings in volatile energy prices on top of the inevitable risks of a broader conflict. Oil prices had already surged recently to their highest level since 2014. By early today, the advance of U.S. benchmark crude oil had abated slightly, and it was up about $3 or 3.5% to about $94 per barrel in electronic trading on the New York Mercantile Exchange. The price of Brent crude, the standard for international oil, gained about $4.50 or 5% to hit about $98 per barrel. U.S. trading was closed Monday for President's Day, but markets in Europe and Asia shuddered as Putin moved to secure Russia's hold on Ukraine's rebel regions, adding to fears of a full-scale invasion. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, your market movers, Cable Bahamas, moving 100 shares, closing unchanged at 350. Consolidated Water unchanged at 194, and Emira Incorporated unchanged at 1128. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,245.97, unchanged. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And we are back here, 96.9. Dwight Strong with you. We're talking with Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister, Latrey Ramming, and having a great conversation this morning. All right, so there are a couple other issues I want to ask you about while we have you here. More and more people are talking about this VAT on bread basket items. We have in today's Nassau Guardian the owner of a supermarket in Abaco talking about it as well, saying that he thinks it's a good idea for this to be removed. What are you all hearing, and where do things stand? Is there even a likelihood that a temporary reprieve could be possible?
Well, I mean, last week the Prime Minister would have met with major wholesalers, including retailers, wholesalers, as well as fuel companies in the Bahamas, and of course the major our ports to basically discuss the impact of global inflation and that kind of domestic pressure on the Bahamian economy, and ways that the government of the Bahamas could mount a policy response to these issues. Some of the issues had stemmed from supply chain challenges, the cost of shipping products out of China and the limitations. I think China's zero COVID policy is really implicating on the various ports. Of course, a container used to cost $5,000 for that one 40-foot container. Now costs $20,000 for that one container. Insofar as the government's response on the issue of breadfruit basket items, the policy position at the time is the introduction of the RISE program. The RISE program, which acts as a direct cash payment to vulnerable groups, rather than offsetting these exemptions that particularly does not translate into cost savings mechanisms, is to the government to support low-income families through direct cash payments through social service in the RISE program, wherein the government will absorb some of those that vulnerable group insofar as that cost. So now I honestly I cannot really speak to the extent to which there may be any changes. I think that this is an ongoing conversation on how we could, of course, deal with the issue of inflation that we anticipate that will be with us throughout this year, and what kind of policy response could be seen to alleviate the costs at that level. The government would have also met with the Consumer Protection Commission to ensure that there is proper oversight during this process. The major retailers said to the government that there is no price gouging. That what you say, matter of fact, that there is no effort to really to take advantage of a very difficult situation. One of the things about coming out of this new COVID period is the extent to which there's this pent-up demand for so much material. So I think it's definitely something that the government has to take under advisement on how do we deal with this local inflationary climate in the Bahamas.
Yeah. And what about the wholesalers? What are they saying? I mean, what were you hoping to get from the wholesalers? Just an understanding of what the situation is, or were you asking them to do anything in particular?
Well, there's two things that we wanted to do. We wanted to, it seems as if that they were at a position where they would have exhausted most of their options insofar as what they could have possibly done. Let me give you an example. This trucking issue that they have in the United States is becoming very, like the lack of availability of trucking means the lack of availability of being able to get their produce to the ports in Miami, and that brings its own complications. And so what we wanted to, if there's a scarcity of drivers, that means that there's the cost of what used to cost $500 for a driver to bring produce for example, Atlanta to Miami. That cost us now went from $500 to $3,000. And so what we help those wholesalers, and so what can be possibly offset in a way that could translate into savings for Bahamian consumers. And so what you saw happen is the Prime Minister taking the first initiative of getting a direct understanding or confirming, because of course most of that information is in public domain, but confirming the thoughts that confirming the conclusions that we suspected was causing the challenge, and two, finding ways where we could find middle ground. One of the things that we also discussed, Dwight, is local production. There was a lot of interest in buying local produce, and whether it's through BAMSI or local farmers or through BAIC, to take advantage of this opportunity for Bahamian farmers to sell local produce to the markets or filling the gaps where it's needed.
All right. So what came out of it, the meetings, especially the wholesalers?
Well, we're waiting for the wholesalers and the retailers to get back to the government on matters on where they think that the government could, from its standpoint, could alleviate pressures in the short and medium term. On the local produce side, I think that they are working to produce a growing schedule, so wholesalers and retailers could know what is available in the market at a given time. I think that this is a very good time for persons who are in the agriculture business to take advantage of it. It is a priority of the government of Bahamas, and we're putting infrastructure behind the growth of this industry.
All right. Keep us posted on that, please. I don't want to spend too much time with this, but I got to ask you about it. It's in today's paper about the Dubai Expo, and Economic Affairs Minister Michael Alkeidas saying that of the $1 million that was budgeted, only $600,000 has been spent. We've been hearing lots of different numbers, but clear that up for us. What exactly does that mean? And I know the expo's still going on, but tell us about that.
I think what you've seen happen is that there was an allocation of $1 million, and so there was always the view that the government would have not exhausted the full allocated amount. And I think what the Minister of Economic Affairs was speaking to is that out of the allocation of $1 million, that the government has only spent $600,000 of that $1 million. And I think that comes on the backdrop that the budget was reduced from $1.7 million to $1 million, and now confirmation of the Minister of Economic Affairs that the government has only spent $600,000 of that amount. One of the issues I see in headline, if you don't mind me pivoting to Dwight, is the issue of what happened in Abaco. Mm-hmm. I think that I am most times I am guided in what I say, but I cannot emphasize enough the level of frustration and disappointment that I have in the previous administration for not doing enough to meet the human suffering, both in Grand Bahama and in Abaco. 2 years after this pandemic, there's finally a focused effort in getting housing for persons who've been displaced for more than 2 years. And this is after millions have been exhausted and no tangible relief has been aided to the benefit to the people of in Abaco and Grand Bahama. I think that there must be more answers on this issue. There must be a higher level of accountability as to what transpired in the government's response, the previous administration response to this issue. I think that we're at the bottom of it for two reasons. One, for the purpose of accountability, and secondly, for us to learn from these mistakes, that as we operate in a climate risk environment, we are able to mount a better response to serving to Bahamians. But for persons to live in this lack of dignity, so there's no degree of normalcy for persons who would have enjoyed Hurricane Dorian when their life don't feel normal. I think that this will probably go down one of the worst things that would have happened under the Free National Movement.
Mm-hmm. And what is the plan of the current administration moving forward in tackling these issues in Abaco and in Grand Bahama?
Well, the Prime Minister travels to Grand Bahama this week to put shovel in the ground for new houses. We expect that those houses will be completed by summer. And so there's a strong emphasis on mobilizing Abaco. He's been to Abaco 3 times. He returned back to Abaco in his 4th visit this week. And so the issue isn't that there is lack of opportunities in Abaco. The issue we have in Abaco is a lack of housing. And if there's no housing, then the opportunities cannot happen because people don't have nowhere to live. And so the government is trying to deal with that issue as a priority to facilitate the commerce activities in Abaco. And I think that's some of the things that you would have seen is a key element of our response. There from the local council level, there is a serious demand for housing, whether it's for police officers, teachers, persons who have been displaced. The key priority right now is to deal with the persons who have been displaced because of Dorian, and they're still living in tents.
All right, we only have a couple minutes left. I want to ask you about this. The sick out with the Ministry of Finance and the statement from the ministry that $7 million at least lost in revenue as a result of this, and how this is going to impact increments that were due. And the tone of the statement that was released, but also the fact that another newspaper reported that, well, it seemed like hearsay to me, but that another minister, that Minister Mitchell in public service, that he was distancing himself from the statement. Well, it's a bit confusing, but where do things stand? That was a valid statement from the Ministry of Finance, was it not?
I'm not aware of any hearsay by the minister. What I will do, Dwight, is look into the issue of where the government is in this issue of sick out. I think that what I can say is that the Minister of Public Service, Minister Mitchell, remains in conversation with Mr. Ferguson, who has oversight of those unions. Let me say this, that the government remains union friendly. We believe that in most of these matters, there could be amicable conclusions. In my personal experience, and I'm probably about to, in my personal experience, the public service have a lot of aged HR challenges. And I think that these challenges rise to level of frustration by long-standing service that's not been rewarded or incentivized. I think that government, through its public sector reform, is committing to correct these issues. Because if we don't, we will continue to see these kind of levels of disputes. Persons who have been working in the sector for a very long time have not been promoted. There are persons who have been working in the sector for a very long time, and that has not been made permanent and pensionable and recognized by the systems. There's level of inconsistencies insofar as benefits and salaries on varying levels. And so I think these are issues that the government must seek to readdress. I think that what transpired with the officers is an example of what could happen if those things aren't rectified. And I think that that's why it's so important that the government embark on this public sector reform to ensure that we bring closure to a lot of these long-standing human resources matters. I cannot speak on the comments of something I did not hear, what is preferred hearsay. That's what my view of the matter.
Yeah. All right. We got to wrap up, but I want to ask you this. We've been getting lots of messages. People are, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're teasing us or whatever, but they've noted the number of our colleagues who've been hired by the current administration. And people have all kinds of interesting theories on what's happening. But let's get it from you. How should we perceive the media and the country perceive what's happened?
So let me just speak to this issue because I've heard it on multiple occasions. The government recognized that we have an important responsibility to communicate effectively and efficiently with the Bahamian people. We want to change the way the government communicate. We want to change the way of communications. We are building capacity throughout the public sector insofar as our communications efforts. And the only way we could be successful in doing so is by identifying the talent that exists. Unfortunately for you, many of the talents exist in the media industry, and the government at no time make apologies for attracting talented individuals to work for them. We operate under the mantra of wanting the best and the brightest to work for us. In the communications department, that is no different. We want persons who are highly skilled, who have been around for a very long time, understand the issues, and understand how to communicate those issues effectively to the Bahamian people. And we recognize, and so whilst persons may see that as an organized effort, the only effort that we're seeking
Oh.
talent, we're finding the right individuals to do so.
All right. Wow, that's a good answer, Latrell Rabbit. You're very good. That's very good. That's a very good way. Oh
Yes.
boy.
Yes, Dwight.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. So a couple seconds. I'm pushing 242 area code, right? 24th of the second month, 242 day, Thursday. So I've been talking about it for a few weeks, but hey, if the government wants to get behind, let's do this. So you can talk to your folks and see if they'd be interested in celebrating 242 day this Thursday. Maybe eventually it can become a flag day or something. I don't know, but I don't know. What do you think of that? Did we lose you? You're muted. I think we lost him. Yeah? No? Oh, boy. Okay. Well, hey, Latrell Ramming, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Let's see if we can take a quick break and then be back to wrap things up. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bump into a wall when she's running after the churn them.
Yeah, but last Saturday, you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
So what you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence, and we don't want to line up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business, then Jack come after me, and I line up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll-free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and we could text them, and the messages get on mix up before it leave your phone, so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, chart a course for RF Mutual Funds, where you can get global returns through our suite of internationally invested funds. Get exposure in U.S., Asian, European, and emerging markets without central bank approval. And with financial services leader Morgan Stanley as the advisor and custodian of our international funds, you can benefit from RF's global connections. Set sail for international markets today by visiting rfgroup.com. RF, money at work.
That's it for us today. We'll be back with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business. Dwight Strachan, have a great one. Stay tuned for Aaron Green on the clock coming up next.